Hello, my friends. If this image looks a little dreamy, like a dreamscape, that's intentional. So today I'm lecturing at Columbia Business School on the future of technology, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and metaverse. And so I'm going to be speaking about a number of things. But before I do that, I'd like to share with you what I think is the next adventure for metahumans in the spiritual metaverse. And this is an invitation for you. If you're watching this, then I'm sure you are. And if you continue to watch it, this is an invitation and a preview. So the invitation is join the spiritual metaverse. Join the spiritual metaverse. Become a citizen of the spiritual metaverse. And if a number of you do that, then I think we can move in the direction of a more spiritual, but also more peaceful, because spirit is peaceful, more peaceful, just, because spirit is just, sustainable. Spirit integrates everything, healthy. Spirit is responsible for self-regulation and self-organization and homeostasis and healing. So healthy and joyful. Spirit is inherently joyful for no reason whatsoever. Just look at a child, full of innocence, full of wonder, full of joy, full of curiosity, full of love, full of compassion, full of empathy. Spirit is innocent. It is not yet contaminated by the conditioned mind. So why the spiritual metaverse? Okay, so I have been speaking in these forums now, it seems like forever, about the hard problem of consciousness. And currently 3 theories are competing for what we think is fundamental reality. Matter only, monism, which means everything is atoms, molecules, force fields, and our mind is a product of that. So that's matter-only monism. I don't give much credence to that hypothesis because nobody's ever discovered a substance called matter. Nobody's experienced matter. What we've experienced are modes of knowing and experience in consciousness in the form of sensations, which includes all sense perceptions, images, which includes all colors, forms, shapes, including in imagination, images, feelings, includes all feelings, all kinds of emotions, and thoughts. That's it. Remember the acronym we've used forever. I think I originally heard it from Dan Siegel, SIFT, S-I-F-T. Okay, so all experience is sensations, because perceptions are sensations, perceptual sensations, sound, touch, sight, taste, and smell. But so are subtle sensations like images in consciousness or emotions. They're all subtle sensations. That's what we call sentient beings. Even movement is a sensation. So all experience is modalities of sensation. You could say this is an iPhone, or this is a hand, or that's a statue of Lakshmi to my side. But you could also say that's an experience. And as an experience, it is sensations, subtle sensations, colors, shapes, forms, and the feelings that go when I look at that statue, Lakshmi. I'm filled with the gratitude of abundance consciousness. So there are feelings and there are thoughts, but these are all subtle sensations across the screen of consciousness. Consciousness is vibrating as sensations. Everything else is a story, and that includes body, mind, universe, etc. We now have the ability to deconstruct any object, doesn't matter. This is a cup of coffee or coffee itself, or this is a beautiful tiger, or this is the symbolic representation of Ganesh. Those are stories, or this is a hand, or this is a body, or this is my forehead, or this is my jacket. These are human constructs. Fundamental experience is sensations. Consciousness, which is species specific, is modifying itself into a particular medley or collage or conglomeration or modulation or combination of entangled sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. And then, the scientific mind tries to quantify that in terms of whatever calories, weight, length, breadth, atoms, molecules, force fields, quantum vacuum, human constructs, human stories. So we have the ability to deconstruct all experience as just qualia, bubbling in a species-specific consciousness, in this case, human. And then we have the ability to reconstruct reality, taking the vocabulary of qualia, qualities of experience, modulations of awareness, knowing itself as that object, or that Milky Way galaxy, or that star, or that moon, or that sun, or this body changing. And this body and the changing universe go together as a VR program in virtual reality. So you and I, as I've said before, are fictional characters in a collective dreamscape. And of course, you've heard me quote this before from Wittgenstein. Our life is a dream, we are asleep, but once in a while we wake up enough to know that we are dreaming. And what do we wake up to? Meta-reality, the spiritual metaverse. Once we recognize that we are all fictional characters in a collective dreamscape, that it is our destiny to play an infinity of roles, but we are not the roles we are playing, then we open the metaverse of infinite possibilities. And that metaverse is an extension of the virtual reality we are currently in. Right now, if I asked you, where's this experience happening? You might say it's on your computer, or if you're hearing the sound, you might say in your ear or in your auditory cortex. None of the above is true. This experience that you're having is in awareness, and awareness is modifying itself as the experience that you and I are having together, which includes this, what's happening here, and all this, all these beautiful art objects, statues, whatever. So, what is the spiritual metaverse? First of all, we will use our collective intelligence to augment AI even more. That's what's called augmented reality. Then we will also use our ability to modulate sensations, basically sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts into new dreamscapes. We will be able to experience perhaps what other animals experience. What doesn't experience? What is the experience of an insect with multiple eyes, or a bat that navigates through echolocation, or an owl that sees at night, or a snake that navigates its dreamscape as through infrared, the echo of ultrasound. What is it? What's the experience? We'll be able to, through the modulation of sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts, which is basically what objects are. What objects are, we'll be able to immerse this and everything that we call object, which is essentially an experience before we call it an object. And that includes the entire universe that we can access as humans, but also perhaps as other species as our technology advances. So my lecture today is going to include a PowerPoint presentation. And before I tell you what I'm going to be talking about, just want to acknowledge that this PowerPoint was prepared with the help of my CEO, Punacha Machaya, who's also the co-founder and CEO of Seva.lab, which is part of our adventure, Metahuman adventure in the metaverse. So this is not so clear intentionally, dreamlike, so I can actually explain what I'm saying. So AI will enable truly personalized medicine. We'll be able to predict the future of well-being. So the future of well-being is going to be personalized, predictive, preventable, participatory, a process, and mostly reversible. Mostly reversible because we know now through digital technologies exactly what's going to be happening. At the most fundamental level, we'll be able to record every experience we have, the neural correlate and the digital correlate of that experience. So that will be use number one. AI will also address the climate crisis. Prediction markets powered by AI that can tie policy to impact, taking a holistic view of environmental information and interdependence. This would likely be powered by digital twin Earth simulations that would require staggering amounts of real-time data and computation to detect nuanced trends imperceptible to human senses. So check out www.earthdna.org. Then we will have AI and digital humans. Already we have digital Deepak here. And digital humans as AI companions, that's check out www.digitaldeepak.ai. There'll be interactive kiosks and digital humans. There'll be brand ambassadors and personalities as digital humans. AI will also enable next generation consumer experiences. So, you know, all this experience with the NFT, what we have to realize is when people buy a product or they buy a service, what they're really wanting is an experience. And the experience between a digital experience and what we call a physical experience, the difference between them will be unified because every object is already an experience, a modulation of sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. But the next generation consumer experience will combine, and that's where the NFT market is right now. NFTs are becoming consumer products. They are virtual products, but they also give you the experience that you get from a physical service, a physical product. And soon this will be unified into a unified experience. AI and machine learning will transform the scientific method. The science will be much easier to do meta-analysis. For example, during COVID-19, we at the Chopra Foundation did meta-analysis on stress, on depression, on anger, on resentment, on inflammation, on vagal stimulation, all this facilitated through AI. AI will merge into something called hyperreality. The future may be regarded as hyperreality, a mix of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, and meta-reality. And in that vein, I want to tell you that I'll be launching something called Deepak Chopra Immersive Journey to Self. at on 22nd of September in LA. Stay tuned in for some announcements, but basically this will be an open eyes immersive experience that you will be transported into different worlds and metascapes and metaverses. And this is going to be happening in museums, in science museums, but also in regular museums, and hopefully will allow us to immerse ourselves into any reality, because we are part of the immersive dreamscape as a participant, as a conscious agent. And we, of course, call it everyday reality. This is everyday reality, the collective dreamscape. But even as I'm speaking, your mind, your body, and the dreamscape is changing. So this enhanced technology will also enhance our living. So simple everyday tasks will be enhanced. Wearables, I'm wearing wearables all the time that measure my heart rate, my heart rate variability, my breathing rate, my oxygen saturation, my exercise, my sleep patterns. And to this will be added tutorials for cooking, building, creating, everything in between. Kinesthetic learning is one of the most preferred forms of learning these days, and will continue to increase in popularity due to generational shifts. And so enter the spiritual metaverse. A new era of possibilities is being created even right now in the virtual world. Everything we do in the physical world will eventually be possible in a virtual world. Infinite possibilities and experiences, because life is a continuum of experiences. That's all it is. We create stories in all these experiences, and then we kind of immerse ourselves in the stories, and then we call it everyday reality. But we will now be able to augment our immersion as fictional characters in the collective dreamscape. Metaverse will also transform mental health therapies. Metaverse care model has the potential to radically change how digital therapy is delivered. Being able to access support without geographical limitations from the comfort of your home has already taken off with telemedicine, but the metaverse provides a much more lifelike experience of immersion. So that's a brief summary. Once again, thank you to Panacha for helping me create this PowerPoint, and there's much more to come. But right now, we are also creating something called the Longevity Project. So deep learning systems in digital technology will allow us to personalize health span and longevity, and also well-being. As I said, personalized, precise, predictive, participatory process, and even reverse many of our chronic illnesses. So we're already there. Check out digitaldeepak.com. Check out sevalove.com. Check out some of the Chopra Foundation research, and you'll see that if we have the will, if we have the shared vision, if we bond emotionally and spiritually, then we can indeed move toward a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. And we'll be able to cavort with the gods and the goddesses. We'll be able to ride tigers. We'll be able to understand the experience of Shiva and Shakti if we so desire. We'll be able to understand and immerse ourselves in the worlds of shamans and healers and sages and scientists. Look at that shaman behind me. And we will be able to give you a digital experience of a shamanic ritual, including digital ayahuasca. So digiceuticals are on their way also to replace pharmaceuticals. A new world is being born. And if we don't participate in it, that will be to the detriment of our evolution, the future evolution of the human species, and the future of our planet. So join the spiritual metaverse and let's create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. And let's stretch more than we can dream. Or what's a dream for? And we are already in a dreamscape. So let's break every conceivable boundary of our dream. Thank you, my friends. Let me know if any of this makes sense to you, and if you would like to be part of the new metaverse, the spiritual metaverse. Join the spiritual metaverse, and let's frolic and play and cavort and dance and celebrate every character that we play, along with deep empathy, compassion, joy, equanimity, and delight with all the other characters that have differentiated from the one being.